Awesome, guys. Well, welcome back to another episode of Fiercely Unstoppable. I'm so excited to be here today. We are actually sponsored by Art House Hotel, New York City, which boasts 291 guest rooms, 3 on-site restaurants, and to be honest, it's a pretty cool place. We just walked through it. It looks pretty neat.
Amazing.
Looks like a place to hang out. And they have nightly entertainment in Manhattan's Upper West Side. So if you're interested in this, if you're going to New York City, which why should you not? Of course you should. Book your next stay at www.arthouse.hotelnyc.com or call in for group rates and events. So that's fun. It looks like a pretty cool hotel, but regardless, that's not why we're here today. We are here today because we have a super, super awesome special guest for you, and I'm excited to introduce you to her. We have Stephanie Redlener, and I'm so excited. Stephanie, thank you for being here, and tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and how you got to where you are today.
Amazing, yes. So I'm a sex and leadership coach, and I work with very ambitious women who are feeling overworked and overrun and want to come back to their true power source. And for that, it's within. And so much of it is, especially with ambitious women, it's like, how do we achieve more, but still feeling kind of disconnected and
or like still not feeling the fulfillment, even though we've achieved so much, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's like always, I love being an entrepreneur, but it's one of the biggest hurdles that I think a lot of us battle is being a high achiever. Okay, we want to accomplish this, but then it's like, okay, well, what's the next goal?
Yeah, like that's not enough. Okay,
but that's not enough, and we're not fulfilled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I do that through coaching, through teaching classes, all of that. And because of my skills and because of my passion, which is like deep in the feminine arts, going into vulnerability, embracing our emotions, owning our emotions, to very more leadership strategy, visioning, and all of that. So I really work with women along the gamut.
That's so cool. Okay, so give me your title one more time.
I'm a leadership and sexuality coach.
Leadership and sexuality coach. Okay, so how did you even get into this? Tell us a little bit about your background and how you even found the coaching world.
Totally. So for my whole life, I've been obsessed with figuring out who I am and what I want. And I've really been, what is it that makes me different? What is it that makes me come alive? When I was young, my brother died in an accident.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And I was 18 years old, and it was a really critical time. You remember being 18, right? It's like, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Yeah, 18 was weird.
18's weird, right?
It's a weird couple of ages that you're just like, yeah, that was weird. But so that would be a really challenging time, of course. I mean, every time is hard, but I feel like especially in those teenage years, it's like a really hard time to lose someone that's very important to you.
Yeah, and for me, I was in college at the time. My first year of college, I was doing the things that society expected of you. You graduate, you go to college, you study things.
Yeah, it's like this normal cycle.
Totally.
I used to hate this. I used to say okay, we just go to school to go to school to go to school to get a job, to work, to retire and die. And I was like, that doesn't sound fun.
Totally.
Why did we decide that that's the way life is supposed to look?
Totally. And so in some weird twist of fate and through this kind of horrible thing that happened, at 18, soon to be 19, I was given this gift of life. And I was like, oh fuck, we could die tomorrow, right? It could happen. And so I'm going to live my life in the way that I want. And from that, I quit school. I took myself out of the society game and what you were supposed to do, and really began this adventure in finding out who I was and what I wanted and what makes me come alive and that. And so it was really instrumental in living that way. And then another thing that happened to me when I was young, one of my early jobs is I was a recruiter, and I worked with creative and ambitious people, not just women at the time, and it was amazing. I was running a large U.S. strategy team, and I would sit with people who were twice my age, and I'd be like, so what do you want to do with your life? And and they'd be like, well, I just want to get the next job. And I'm like,
or get through the next 10 years, retire, just have it settled. Yeah.
Exactly. And so this was eye-opening to me.
Yeah.
I was like, you're 45 years old, you're 50 years old, and you're just going from one thing to the next thing without actually thinking about who you are. So that was really my start.
Almost just running through life with as if it has no meaning, you're just living.
Exactly.
And that sounds bad, you're just living, but you're
going through the motions.
You're not actually, you're not actually living. You know, like there's like a different emphasis. Living. Like, how can we fix this? Okay, I want to recap though, because something that you said was, it was almost like your life woke up.
Yeah.
So what specifically happened? Was it just like an internal switch inside of you? Did someone say something? What triggered you to be like, this is the only life I have?
Yeah. Well, it was that experience when that happened, right?
Yeah.
And so it was that trauma that
with your brother passing away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was somebody who lived really fully, and so he was my idol in many sense, and so I sort of took the torch from him. And then
I'm sure he'd be so proud too to see
he would. He is
really come alive,
yeah.
and just like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about this, but just, you know, I don't know, I can just picture someone having a big smile on their face, just like, wow, like, look at what you've been able to build, and look at what you've been able to grow into and blossom into after something that is really hard and traumatic.
Totally. And so I was on this, like, I was like obsessed with creating my perfect life, right? Obsessed. Like, it has to be perfect. I have to live fully, live this. I have to achieve. I have to do. I have to be more. And I was just like running myself into the ground in this desire for achievement and in this desire to prove myself and to prove what society wanted me to be. And I was tired. And I was overworked, and I had parts of me, and I had pain, and I had stuff that I never wanted to show because I was so, like, excited and wanted to prove that I'm a confident woman living my life.
Right. Well, and
anything outside
you had this
like
moment of, okay, I need to live, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, but you're doing that, yet it wasn't still fulfilling. It was still this place where you're like, okay, constantly achieve.
Yeah.
Well, this is how my life needs to look now. And it's, even though we're not trying to do society's standards, it's still kind of, I feel like we all have this people-pleasing tendency inside of us, whether we realize it or not, because there's a few core amount of people that we actually do care about and value their opinion of what they think about us.
Yeah.
And so there's constantly this little bit inside of us that's like, well, is this enough?
Yeah, and do they like me? Do they like it?
Yeah, and am I enough?
Right.
And am I even loved? And if I'm not, then that's a scary thought.
Totally. So I was, like, obsessed with proving myself.
Yeah.
And
to who do you think?
I think it's like, see, I'm confident, I'm smart, I'm pretty,
like,
I'm
look
this,
at me, like,
I got it all together.
Life.
I got it all together. And anything that didn't live in that norm of I have it all together, I'm taking control of my life, I'm living it up, and like, if I felt sad, I didn't approve of that. And I had these sort of like other parts that were looming. And I think it was really when that became a mom that triggered me to be like, you know what, like, I don't want him to see a mom that just, like, is only proud when she feels confident.
Wow.
I want to really, like, own all of me and own these other parts of me. And so I started this next phase of my journey of kind of going into my darkness, going into my softness, the parts of me that didn't achieve, the parts of me that didn't feel the need to prove, that was messy, that was inarticulate, that
How did you do that? Like, did you just kind of go there with your mind? Did you get talked through it? Like, what process did that look like?
Yeah, so it was a couple of things. One is I started going to women's circles, and then I started leading women's circles.
Yeah.
And as some people know, you know, when you go to women's circles, it's all of you is welcome here. And so that fact of like, wait, all of me, even all the part that's like not put together, even the part there, and it was like scary to show that part, but it really kind of it opened my eyes to parts of me that I wasn't approving of. Yeah. And I'm also a student of Mama Gina's, and I've been deep in her work and there, and really celebrating. So not just unhiding, that's a word.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. We're all about making words up on this podcast.
Right? And so it wasn't just about unhiding. It was about celebrating. Like, I don't have it all together. I don't have, you know, like, and really just like loving these other parts. And that's been my latest journey. And I see that in so many women. So as an advisor, a strategist, a coach, I work with so many women who have this achievement drive. Right. And don't feel lost, feel disconnected.
Yeah. So I love what you said though, right? Loving the other parts. So of course we love, and this is something that I constantly battle with too, and I think most people still do. It's this idea that often we put our worth in what our outside circumstances look like.
Exactly.
And, even consciously, I'm like, no, I don't do that. But subconsciously, oh, yeah, it's there, right? Because the two underlying fears that everybody feels at most moments in time, not all moments, I don't want to say, and I'm not saying that, you're feeling this right now, you could be or you could not be, or it could be a subconscious level. But the two biggest fears that most people feel is, am I good enough?
Yeah.
And am I loved? Yeah. And the double whammy is if I'm not good enough, then how could I be loved?
Right.
And that's, oh God, I don't want to go down that road. That's a rabbit hole that we can just
lay down in
close
bed.
up and just set in the corner and just let it chill by itself. And it's something that so many people feel though.
Yeah.
And I like this idea that you said, okay, I decided to really love those parts of me that weren't always that awesome, that we're still kind of sad, that we're still feeling, oh my gosh, who am I? And that those different fears and things as well. So what tips do you have for people to, one, look at that, to be willing and open and vulnerable, to look at the things that they don't like, but also move through that so they can fully love and accept themselves?
Yeah. And it really starts with approving of yourself. You know, I often say I went on a journey of trying to prove myself to approving myself. And that was huge for me. And so a lot of it is get yourself out there, embody how you feel. Let it come to the surface. Let your body, you feel fucking angry, rage it out. Go put on a song and let yourself experience that emotion.
So almost turn it on high.
Turn it high.
Just turn it amplify it.
Trigger it out. What we because we're such a fast moving culture in our life and proving all this stuff we've been talking about, right? We don't give ourselves a moment to feel.
Yeah.
And when we don't feel, we shove them down.
Right. Or we're and like I said, I'm guilty of this too at times too, where we're just oh, I don't want to feel that emotion right now, right?
Exactly. And so I'm just gonna store it. I'm just gonna
right, exactly. And so what happens if we do just shove it down, move on, shove it down, move on, shove it down, move on? What is the inevitable?
Well, what actually happens is it gets stored in our subconscious and our unconscious.
Right.
And these are the blocks, as a coach, right?
Right.
If it was so easy to be I'm going to do this with my life. Here's my goal and I'm going to achieve it. We would all be achieving, we would all be actually living our dreams.
Right. But absolutely. If it was easy to go after it, everyone would do it, of course.
Everyone would do it, right?
Yes.
But we have subconscious blocks, unconscious blocks, in our primal brain and being, in our feeling basis. And so releasing your feelings is a way to not let it keep you stuck.
Yeah, and allowing yourself to feel and knowing that at all moments in time, you are safe and you are loved and you are absolutely worthy of feeling these feelings and loving yourself anyways.
Right.
So, okay, amplifying the feelings is a really good one. Yeah. Surrounding yourself with other entrepreneurs and other women's circles where you're just able to be open and honest about your feelings. What else do you think?
Exactly. So I just want to touch on sisterhood, right?
Yes.
We can't do this alone.
Yes.
We can't do this, again.
Who wants to?
Who wants to?
I don't want to.
Exactly. Exactly. And so making sure you have a group of people that you can rely on and be fully you. Oh my God, I'm triggered. I think the other thing too is that there's no done. It's not I healed myself.
I'm amazing.
I healed myself, and that's good, and now I'm good to live my life. It's no.
It's always a work in progress.
It's always a work in progress because life happens. Because we get triggered.
Or you think that you solved something, you removed a block, right? And I do this all the time with my clients, especially with NLP and stuff, that we can actually physically remove things out of your subconscious. However, if you go back to the same environment, that's just going to reapply.
Yeah.
And that's what happens there is sometimes you get triggered by something and you're like, oh, I thought I got rid of this belief system. And then you realize you didn't.
And then I'm just going to build on that, right? I thought I got rid of it, and shame on me for not getting rid of it, and therefore I'm not good enough. And so we get...
And then we go back into that.
Exactly.
Thought we put that away.
Right. So it's the self-approval and working through it and having the tools. So if you get triggered, when you get triggered, when you get turned off, right? Who can you call? How do you alchemize it? How do you take it and honor it? There's something in this trigger that is a lesson.
Absolutely.
But if we shame it, we don't get the chance of learning it as a lesson. We don't get the opportunity to grow. Wow. So I think sisterhood, alchemizing it, right? I guess that's
what does that mean? So for
it's
people who are like, I don't know what you're
I know,
saying.
That's a weird, like alchemize here. It means like taking something. So let's say we get somebody pisses us off in the subway. Well, I'm a New Yorker, so subway,
or a car for like
or a car,
people.
right? Or someone's driving slow, like normal people, like and then,
like just being cut off in traffic.
And you're on your way to an important meeting, right? Where you're supposed to like lead your vision for your team. But you're pissed.
Right.
You're mad. Someone pissed you off, or you got a call from your mom that really set you off, and you walk into that room and you try to lead people. You are like feeling really like pissed off from it.
Right.
Your ability to like
tainting your emotions.
Exactly. That your emotions have controlled you. You are a victim of your emotions. And so let's say that same situation, you get pissed off someone's driving too slow because you're trying to go to that meeting, right? And be on time and be a professional or whatever.
Or take the subway. I'll do the left.
Fine. You take the subway or whatever. And so you'll give it to me. And like, let's say I have a song, like a song list that's like, when I'm feeling rage, when I'm feeling sadness, I put on that song and I allow myself to feel it before I step into the room and like work through it.
That's a good idea. So that's a good one, a song.
A song.
What else can we do though to kind of shake that off in a very quick moment, right? Because this example that we're giving is very much like, we get to our destination, we need to get into the destination because now if we have a meeting or if we have somewhere we need to be, obviously if you have a lot of time, you could kind of do whatever you needed to do. You could take a bath, you could be like, I'm dipping out and I'm going to go get a massage instead, like whatever that is. But what else could we do in like a fast way to essentially alchemize? Am I saying that properly?
Yeah, you're so good.
So
good. One really simple thing that we do all the time is breathe.
Yes. And like in our diaphragm, deep belly, big
belly
breaths.
Another thing I love to do is to feel my body. Like, so what happens, again, we get triggered, we go into our head, we go into the shame spiral, we go into this like, I can't believe it, whatever it is.
Right.
And so sometimes I will be like, I feel my feet on the ground. I see people around me. I see almost you have like, awesome pink hair.
Yeah.
Like getting myself into the moment.
Like the present moment.
Right?
Yeah. I remember, what's so interesting is, it's so funny. I talk about this a lot, how your life leaves clues to your deeper purpose.
Yeah, I love that.
And I have so many moments that I can look back on now that I didn't really understand the purpose of it at one time, or I didn't understand the meaning of it at one time. But when I used to get upset, going through high school and everything and just growing up as a teenager like normal people, like everybody feels that angst and that those triumphs at that time. I used to love standing in the sun and just closing my eyes and just feeling the warmth of the sun and what that was able to give to me.
Yeah.
And I used to, back in the day, you guys all know if you see pictures of me, I'm really pale and I burn very easily. But whenever I thought I was really cool and different and I wanted to be like everybody else, I used to go to the tanning salon.
Yeah.
But I never really did it for tanning necessarily. That was just like an extra side bonus.
Yeah.
But I did it because I loved the feeling that I left with it.
Yeah.
And now I care too much about my skin personally to do that. Yeah. Not that I'm shaming anybody, but I'm
Yeah.
I like being
Your
pale.
choice. Yeah.
I like being pale. I'm good with it. And I don't utilize that anymore because now I have other tools. But it's fascinating how we can kind of find those things that help us feel relaxed. Yeah. And I think the biggest key here too is noticing, oh my gosh, this song just makes me smile.
Yeah.
Or when I talk to so-and-so, that lifts me up.
Yeah.
Or I can watch this TV show and just laugh and forget about, and just taking little like mental notes and pictures of those things to kind of like put them in our little toolbox for when we are feeling those distressful moments.
Exactly.
I'm glad you explained that though, because I knew what that was, but I never really called it by this proper
alchemy. Yeah, no.
What are words?
Exactly. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Okay, so when did you start your business?
So I started my whole life ago. I have
my whole life I've been running this business.
Well, I think really feeling like my life now and my work are extension of my life and who I am in there. So it's been a layer upon layer.
Right.
So I started coaching 8 years ago, and then I launched Lioness, which is really about focusing with working with women 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago. That's so exciting. Congratulations. Yeah. We're on very similar timelines with our businesses or your official, the Lioness thing. So I would love to hear like the background of Lioness because it's a really powerful name. So where did that come from?
Yeah. Like you said, it's a powerful name. It sort of just embodies. I'm a lioness. There's actually really amazing stories about lionesses. First of all, they live in prides. So there's a pride of lions. There's one male, and there's many female lions. Cool. And the lioness is actually in charge of killing, eating, bringing food back, taking care of the kids. And they don't do it alone. Yeah, they don't do it alone. And what's funny is the male lion is like this symbolic figure, often in the pack, right? And they embody strength and warmth, and I just love this, you know, because that's what we are.
And they're like big cats.
We are strong, exactly, and cuddly. Yeah. And but like we run in prides. We run together, and so they just, for me, really, they're sexy. Also, they embody something that it feels very primal. Mm-hmm. And I want to bring women back to this primal part of them. And that name sort of said it all for me.
Yeah. So what are 3 tips that you have to get back to that primal, that like you were talking about, that primal part of them, but also to kind of just feel more alive in their life again?
Yeah. Desires. Let yourself desire. I think one thing that people lose themselves is they don't actually ask themselves what they want. I'm sure
absolutely.
You see this.
Well, no, and I mean this happens all the time, right? Like, so many people forget to dream,
right?
Or because they don't even think it's possible, so they're just like, well, why? I don't want to waste mental energy on that. Yeah. So then we don't even think about it. But if we don't even think about it, we can't even allow ourselves to want it.
Exactly. How can it happen if we don't think about it?
Yeah.
And so
it's huge.
Like, lists and lists, like big desires, little desires, this
everything,
like, and practice. Like, you know how you can practice? I'm going to a restaurant. What do I really want? Start little. Do you know, it's sort of scary to do the big dreams sometimes, and so it's like, what do I want my week to look like? And so just like making desires a part of your daily life.
Yeah, I love that.
So that is one. And the other is really learning how to work through what comes up. And this is around releasing the charge, releasing the triggers, and a lot of what we talked about.
Right.
So calling yourself out, right?
Yeah. Awareness is so huge in being able to do that, right? So I think even a good practice for people too listening, like this week, all I want you to do is just be really aware of your emotions.
Exactly.
What am I feeling right now? And just check in multiple times throughout the day. What am I feeling right now?
Yeah.
Why am I feeling that? Oh yeah, I got, someone took my soda, so I got mad. Like that triggered me. Or whatever that was, I think that's so key to just really learning your emotions, but then being able to release them.
Totally, and I'll add to that of like, check in with yourself, how do you feel? And celebrate it.
Yeah.
I feel mad. Oh yeah, I feel mad again.
I bet you wouldn't be mad very much.
Exactly, right? And you find yourself right.
Yeah.
Find yourself right. And then the other thing is just like rely on the people around you. Rely on your sisters. And so I think once we do that, it really helps us begin to approve of ourselves.
Yeah, and not be afraid to like ask for help or say, hey, like I'm really struggling right now, or like this is what I'm going through. Can I talk to you about it? And just most people, you guys, I don't know if this sounds really weird, but I love it when people come to me about what they're going through.
Yeah.
Because it, not only I get to help them.
Yeah.
And I get to talk to them and talk them through it and bring them back to, like we said, who they're meant to be.
Yeah.
But 2, it gets me away from my own shit.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Right.
So like you're also doing
realize
them a favor.
That like I've experienced that too.
Yeah.
So if you've done it, I've done it.
Right. And then
and so,
absolutely being able to connect on that level of like, you know what, I know I can get through this.
Yeah.
Even recently I went through some just business drama. We're not going to get into it because we don't have time. But I went through some really unsatisfying business things that really shook me off my guard. And what was crazy is I was talking to my friends about it and no one was going through this stuff. And I was like, why am I the one that has to go through this? Like, this is awful. And I'm like, okay, keep telling myself, I know there's a lesson, I know there's a lesson, I know there's a lesson. And then I actually told someone and confided in someone else, and I decided, okay, well, you know what, it's something I don't always love talking about, but I'm going to talk about it again. And she's like, I went through the same thing. And so I think, you know, too, don't be afraid to open up to more, like, multiple people.
Yeah.
And finally I was like, oh my gosh, I felt so alone. But as soon as you find that connective piece where someone else has gone through something like that, or even similar, and is able to relate, then it's one of those things that, okay, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And I can do this because there's power in numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And even if somebody hasn't related to the specific experience, I bet you they can relate to the feeling.
Yeah. Okay, so this podcast is all about becoming fiercely unstoppable, of course. So can you tell us about a time, and I know you kind of already did, but a specific time where you overcame an obstacle, but when you did, you felt really victorious?
Yeah. Well, launching my business.
Yeah.
Let's be real. You know, when you asked me, like, when did I start it, and I was like 2.5 years ago. Like, the truth is, I put up a website, and then I ran away. And then I was like, I'm too scared, and I'm too this, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it, and I got scared of my dreams. And so I let it lie for about 6 months. I let the lioness lie, you know, and I was just like in my fear and really struggling and really like, I don't know if I have what it takes, and went through, and I used a lot of the tools that I just talked about, and I really worked through that. And so I didn't shame myself for the time it took.
Right.
You know, I wasn't like, I fucked up 6 months and I can't do it now. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
I let that rest period be, and I think that was super helpful.
Wow, that's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that, because it's those emotions are not shy to anyone. Yeah. And I love that you're so open and honest, and I think we need more of that. And you know, that's why I always try to be real and raw and open too with you guys, and really share that, hey, this is what I'm going through, and this is what you're going through, like Stephanie, you specifically, but then there's so many people that are also going through this, and you can get through this. Yeah. And I'm so glad you gave so many tips on how to do that. Yeah. This has been awesome.
Amazing. So fun.
Can you tell us like where people can find you, love you, stalk you, talk to you, all the fun things?
Yes, lioness.com is my website. I have a new Instagram, which I'm very excited about, Lioness Leadership. And it really is about how do we embody our sensual power, our intuitive power, all of that. So those are the 2 places to find me for now.
Awesome. Well, we'll have all that in the show notes as well. But thank you so much for being here today. This has been incredible.
Thank you so much.